Greetings, Chris from Woodman Spirit channel here. It's really terrible weather again today. It's clouds are sucked down, and higher up I think there's still probably some snow. So I take an hour just to finish off a couple of axe projects that I mentioned in my last video. I thought it might be good to show you how I'm finishing off the haft for this 3.5 pound Hults Bruk, which I showed you the other day. Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I would like people to think about before they actually mount a head on a haft, and that is to check inside the eye of the axe, because often on old axes you find there's a lot of rust scale and sometimes damage inside where people have tried to drill old axes out, and to try and make sure there's no burr around the edges, well, not so much at the top but at the bottom here, because as you drive in and you're trying to fit the new haft, it will just tear up the wood and make it, make it a difficult job, more difficult than it needs to be. So I usually just get an old round file like this and just rub it through there, eh? You can see all the rust coming out. It's all the rust on there. It's beginning to shine up inside, which is a good sign. So once you've got all the loose scale out, then just take a flat file, and as you can see on this there is a slight burr on this edge here for sure. Not so much on this side. On the bottom of the eye is actually quite good, so I don't need to worry about that. So I'm just going to work on this little burr here before I experiment with the there we go. Yeah, so that should be ready to slide on test. I've already done some provisional fitting of this, and it is it's looser than what I normally put a axe head on. I usually drive them on with some force, but I'm just trying on this occasion to see how it works when it's an easy push fit. I've taken some off the cheeks of the haft. As you can see, usually, this is actually a fairly good quality hickory haft, a purchased haft. It's not one I've made, but what I have done is I've done quite a lot of work to improve it. It was way too thick, and I've thinned it down nicely. And I really don't like these huge fawn foots that I put on the end. It's just unnecessary length. It's not like it actually serves any purpose other than to look like a fawn's foot. So as you can see, I put black tape on there all the way around, and before I finish the axe I'm going to saw that piece off and put a bevel on. It's very important to have a nice bevel around the edge, because if you don't, when you're pounding, if it comes loose in future and you're pounding it on, sooner or later it's going to split, and I've seen a few of my old axes go that way. Probably about 1/8 of an inch of kerf in there. And the whole idea is really you should try and make this kerf cut about 2/3 of the way through the pole. So anyway, I'm just going to give this a final sanding with a piece of old sander belt that I have here. So it's good to keep this stuff even when the belt's snapped. And I don't want to make the haft too smooth, because particularly with linseed oil, what you notice is after a while of use the oil gets into the wood and it gets almost looks like it's been varnished, and it can become quite slick, and I personally don't like that. I like to feel a bit of roughness on the handles, not so you're going to get splinters in you, but just so it's easier to hold on and obviously safer. So I Well, the other thing I wanted to show you is nearer the, I don't know if you can pick it up on this camera, but here I've used a wood rasp on here and then gone over it with a coarse file, so I have a slightly textured finish for the last 4 or 5 inches down to where my finger is there, which is quite nice. It feels good in the hand, but the rest of it is sanded to a degree where it'll take oil and bring the grain out. As I'm working on this, I'm going to be thinking about what kind of finish I'm going to do on it today. So let's just give it one more check. So that's how it's sitting, and you know, as I've said before, it's always good to leave some of your haft proud, because that gives you opportunity to mushroom it over with a wedge. So as I said before, it's this is pretty much a push fit. I'm just going to put a pencil mark on here, so when I drive it in, you can see how much further it's going to go on. Okay, so here we go. Let's just drive this on with a mallet. So I'm using this old, I think it's a boxwood mallet. So I'm just going to slap it on the bottom, get on, and you can turn it upside down after that. And then we can see if there's any as you can see there, it's there's not even a shaving of wood brought up by driving it on, and that's probably because I've filed out the eye and taken the burr off it. There's a slight gap there, but not much I can do about this. It was the widest haft I have, and I was going to use it on, I've done more smaller axes recently, so when I came to find a haft for this 3.5 pound HB, this was the thickest one I had, so I have to use it. But I'm not worried, because when I put a wedge in here, I'm going to make the wedge slightly long, so it'll probably fill in most of that little gap that's at the top there. So now I can take it off. All I do is give that a smack on top, and it's straight off loose. You can see the mark on there, look. And yeah, it's I'm just going to give it a little file. This is a combination wood rasp. That's good for, you know, doing contours on handles and removing large amounts of stock near where the head is. And that's just like a regular wood file on there. So let's see if we can get some more of that off. So you'll notice on here, I mean, there's always on pre-manufactured hafts, there's also a big bulbous piece of the haft here at the back. Really, I'm not sure what purpose that serves. It doesn't add to the strength. It just means if your haft shrinks and comes loose in future, it's harder to whittle it down and to drive on the head. But I think that's almost as good as it's going to get. So I'm just going to pause for a moment while I get some pine tar and turpentine mixtures put on here before I put it into the eye. See you in a minute. Hi, I'm back with you again now. Sorry about that. But yeah, so while I was away, I've just cut off the fawn's foot, so to speak, and beveled, put about a 1/4 inch bevel on there, and slightly rounded the dome of here, so no chance that's going to split if it has to be beaten back on. Also thinned the hand grip down here a bit, because it's I like to, as I said in the last video, I like to hold the haft so my fingertips are just touching the palm of my hand, which is about perfect now. It's smooth but not too smooth. Okay, so let's get some, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put so much dust in here, it's crazy. I'm going to put some neat pine tar in the eye of the axe head here. So this is pine tar. Yeah, I got this from the local equestrian store. I think there are some better varieties of this stuff. I think you can order it online from Scandinavia, and of course their reputation is second to none for making this product. So the reason I'm doing this is to help the mechanical key of the wood into the steel, but also to inhibit rust. So that's it, it's a good smear of that inside. This is very messy stuff to use. It's fairly sticky, and don't get it on your clothes unless they're old rags, otherwise they'll be spoiled. That's a good lick of that pine tar inside there. Okay, so let's get that off my hands. So the next thing that you've seen me do before is to just apply some of the solution onto the haft. Now I noticed some people soak their hafts in either Danish oil or linseed oil for a day or two before they put the haft into the handle. To me, you know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but to me, once you put liquid into the haft, it will swell. So the point being, if it's already swollen when you put your axe head on, there's only one way for it to go, and that is to shrink. So because I'm putting it on now, it'll take a while for the wood to swell to its fullest extent. Here's a mixture, fairly thin and diluted with bioturpentine. So let's give that a good wipe over on there. Yeah, so you know, thanks to all you guys who subscribed recently, and I'm pleased with what's happening with the channel. But you know, I have to say at this point too that my original intention wasn't just to do axe and knife stuff on Woodsman Spirit channel. I'm quite an avid outdoorsman, but for me, unfortunately, in the last couple of years post-retirement, I don't seem to have had any time, which is kind of crazy. So I was referred to retirement as a libelous myth. But there's another project I'm working on, and again it's contingent on us getting some good weather this year, and the season is already a third of the way through, and we've not long since lost the snow, to be replaced by rain and mud. But I have a second property, a new property, 20 acres, about 90 kilometres east of here, and about 1,500, 2,000 feet higher. So as you can imagine, there's been more snow up there. And I have a project that I'm just starting on, or I've been working on for a couple of years there, unfortunately rather slowly. I'm going to build a pre-manufactured log home amongst this 20 acres of birch and spruce and aspen and vine maple, and I think there's also some balsam fir up there. So it's been okay to work on the axes, because I've been using axes quite a lot, and chainsaws, although there's lots of good websites on chainsaws, and I'm not an expert with chainsaw. I've just had to learn how to fall some quite dangerous aspens up there, and some dead spruce, maybe up to 100 feet tall, in very densely wooded area where there's been no clearing or management done for probably 50 years, so you can imagine it's just like a very dark and dense, and a third of the wood in one area was dead, so lots of widow makers and trees hanging up. But while I'm on the subject of tree removal, falling and chainsaws, I'd like to give a shout out to my friend Bucking Billy Ray Smith of Vancouver Island. He's got a really neat channel. I've recently subscribed to him. He's a really nice guy. He's got a very positive attitude on life. He's just a regular guy. He's a whole bunch of fun as well. He's quite the comedian. But in terms of tree work and chainsaws, he's the guy. So I'd encourage you to check him out. And he's also an awesome blues musician. And I'm not a blues man. Well, I'm not a blues musician, but I like the blues music. And he plays a fair blues harmonica. So check Billy Ray out. And another friend I've made over the years on YouTube is MT Woods Runner. Now he's an interesting guy. He lives over in Montana, and he's a guy who gets out there. He's dare I say, not in his first flushes of youth, probably nearer my age, but he got some incredible outdoor skills. He's an awesome firelighter. He uses the stick and drill method, hand drill, to make fires, and he's really very competent. Yeah, so he's for something a bit different, check out MT Woods Runner. I also have probably the longest standing subscriber. I should give a shout to him as well. That is the Sun Tests, and he's over in the Moscow area, Russia. He's a small, like me, he's a fairly small channel, but he's very interested in knives and steels, and like me, he likes experimenting with things, and he's an awesome guy. He's got a lot of knowledge about knives and axes. So that's the Sun Tests on YouTube. So those are the three guys I'm going to give shouts to today, and I don't subscribe to a lot of channels. I spend a lot of time watching channels and before I decide to subscribe. But there's certainly some other good channels who I'd be more than happy to give a shout. Oh, there is one. Yeah, don't let me forget. Girl in the Woods. Now, that's Bruk Whipple, and Bruk is an awesome woman as well. She's really living the life up in Alaska. Again, must be something about me and humorous people, but she's very humorous, but she's also got some very well developed bush skills. Her and her husband have lived up in Alaska for a number of years now, and you know, I'd encourage you to check Girl in the Wild site, and in the process learn a little bit about you know, what's gotten Bruk into that kind of lifestyle. And what I like about Billy Ray, and what I like about the Sun Test, and what I like about Girl in the Woods and some of the other sites is that people respond to subscribers, and that to me is very important. And I've got a relatively small site now, but I'm hoping to grow it in the next year or two. But I think it's very important in these times where there's been so much angst and hatred in the world for all of us who operate YouTube channels to show some humanity and friendship and kinship to people through our interests. So you know, rather than seeing lots of stuff on the web, and there's no shortage of that, which is about hatred, I think we have to make a conscious effort. And I know Billy Ray is making a huge effort to be very personable and to help others out, and that's what it's all about. And you're all on this planet together, and we all have to do our best to get on together and teach each other and care about each other. So yeah, so that's ready. Sorry I'm rambling, but I don't often talk about things other than axes, so that's cool. So this is good to go now. So I'm dropping that on there, and I don't want to move the camera because I've got all kinds of jars of liquid and stuff on here, but I'm just going to tap this on sufficiently so it doesn't drop off. And the mallet when I can find one. That's it. So I'm just going to give this a couple of heavy smacks. There you go. Just the tiniest of shavings scraped up there, but for sure nice and tight. Fair amount of the pole sticking out now. I think this is probably worked out, it was a 36 originally, I've probably, with finessing it, I've probably gone down to about 33, 34, but I don't like, I tend to keep away from things 36, because it's a 3.5 pound head, and I think this is about optimum length for me. So yeah, I'm just going to put that down for a minute. So the project I've going about 90 clicks from here is somewhat adventurous for someone who is categorised as retired, and it's not without some trepidation. There's no services up there whatsoever. There is significant snow, and there's also lots of alpha predators up there. Not that that really troubles me, but they're all things that I will be bearing in mind when I'm working up there, and for sure I'd like to maybe set up another YouTube channel just to give people an insight into what I'm doing and what can be done with that kind of property. So I'll keep you informed about my evolving fermenting ideas, because there's something fermenting in my head for sure. So I've made the wedges myself. I haven't bought the wedges, and as you can see, and I've shown you these before, don't make them too thick. I'm making this one probably slightly thicker than average because there is a bit of a gap there at the back of the head, and I want to try and seal that off somehow. But I'm going to just take a little break to drive that in a little bit further and maybe trim a tiny bit off the top of the haft. See you soon. Yeah, so I had to have a slight change of plan here. The thicker wedge I made earlier, this illustrates a point. I was driving it in, I'll show you it, this one. If you can see, that one's a way thicker, sorry, that's way thicker than the one that's actually in the head now. And that shows the problem of making things that are too thick and have too steep an angle on them. And I'd already shaved this down so it's quite slim. But as I'd soaked it in the tar and I was driving it in, it just popped straight out. So I'm hoping this one's going to work okay. As I drove the haft further in, the kerf I cut in the haft closes up, so I'm hoping this is going to go all the way in. And that's why I use a wooden mallet, because some people use hammers, but then that destroys the wedge sometimes before they even get in. So this seems to be tight, which is brilliant. So there you go, look. That's going to go a little bit further. I'm going to get too overzealous with it now. I'm going to go out and test this in a while, because I always believe in just seeing how good a fit things are. There's only one way you can do it, and that is beating the life out of a heavy stump, because if it won't hold up to working at home, you don't want to be stuck in the woods with a axe head in one hand and the haft in the other. So I'll talk to you again soon. So the moment of truth. There we go. Just very slight creep in there, 1/8 of an inch. So I'll drive the wood in, wedge in further. See how we go then. Okay, here we go with round 2. Yep, that's perfect. So that's a success. We'll, if by chance it shrinks, what I'll do is I'll put a steel wedge in it, but I think it's okay for now. So that just about wraps it up for today. Thanks for joining me again, and yep, don't forget, an axe can be your best friend or it can be a cruel mistress. Don't use an axe when you're angry or depressed. Don't use an axe when you're intoxicated, and if your mind's preoccupied in this busy world, best leave the axe at home. So thanks for joining me today, and just to remind you, check out the Sun Tests YouTube channel. Some great stuff on there. It's a growing channel, you need your support. Also MT Woods Runner down in Montana, great guy, great skills, particularly fire lighting skills and backpacking skills. Some good stuff on traditional rucks, canvas rucks. Also remember booking Billy Ray Smith. I'm new to his channel, I'm a new subscriber, I can tell you now. That guy knows how to use a chainsaw, and he's just so much fun, and he's always there for other people. And last but by no means least, Girl in the Woods, Bruk Whipple. That lady's got some skills, and she's got a heck of a sense of humour. And let's face it, we all need that in today's world. So stay safe. I deserve a nice strong coffee after all that exertion. Cheers. Please subscribe to my channel. I always try and answer your comments, and if you have any more ideas, feel free to share them with me, and I'll see you next time.